Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
Abaco and Grand Bahama set to be tax-free zones. The story is straight ahead.
Evacuees share their concerns post-Hurricane Dorian.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis declared today that Grand Bahama and Abaco will be VAT-free zones. He made the announcement during a meeting with residents of Green Turtle Key. Jared Higgs reports.
Now, the Prime Minister spoke to residents who remain in Green Turtle Key at a town hall meeting on Wednesday morning. He outlined tax breaks for the community, including VAT-free zones in Grand Bahama and Abaco.
It would also be declared VAT-free initially for 1 year, and we will assess that going forward.
The Prime Minister's announcement was part of a list of tax breaks and relaxed regulations meant to get residents of Abaco and its surrounding keys back on their feet. Along with being a tax-free zone, Abaconians will be able to purchase building supplies in New Providence free of taxes. A National Recovery and Reconstruction Trust Fund is also being established. That entity will control the disbursement of funds earmarked to assist people with rebuilding their homes. Minnis says the independent trust will perform better than a government agency because donors will feel more confident that their money will be put to proper use. He added that while government is willing to spend up to $10,000 assisting people with home repairs, completely rebuilding residents' homes is out of the question.
No government in the world can rebuild your homes. All right, let's get that clear. So I don't want you to get the wrong impression that I said we're going to build your home. Okay. Not even the great US of A can do it. All right, full stop.
An announcement that a barge was on its way to the key to collect accumulated garbage was met with enthusiastic applause. However, Minnis also admitted that the water supply has been inconsistent and government wasn't able to meet its electrification target.
We were projecting initially to have you electrified.
Minnis says until they do get electricity returned, residents will also get tax breaks on fuel. He also promised that he would make monthly trips to Abaco to monitor the island's recovery.
Be assured that by Christmas, the Green Turtle Key that we saw just after Dorian is not the Green Turtle Key that we will see on Christmas time.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
1 week after a strike poll taken by National Insurance Board employees was deemed invalid, workers will head back to the polls on Friday to take part in another strike vote. A ruling handed down by Supreme Court Justice Indra Charles today allows the union to hold another vote as long as all the necessary paperwork is filed. Public Officers Union President Jan Roach called it a minor victory for his members.
Well, Friday we'll have our strike poll again. You know, the union will speak, and I'm sure the outcome will still be yes as it was the first time. Executive management is still sitting on the outside. So once they come back, we'll know exactly where we are.
Employees have been on work to rule since Monday. The union leader also responded to NIB Minister Brenzel Roll, who said he has no issue with employees being on work to rule.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't have an issue with work to rule, then he obviously believes that we're doing what we need to do to get the results that we need. You know, with him being the minister that has direct responsibility for NIB, he should be more sensitive to our plight. He's had the authority to end this in May when it all started. So the fact that he's not bothered by it means that, you know, we will continue to do what we got to do because we obviously are not going to get resolution waiting.
As they await the restoration of government infrastructure and services, the people of Ragged Island say they feel forgotten 2 years after Hurricane Irma.
I lose just about everything with my house, and I'm here struggling, fishing in and trying to take every dollar I can make, trying to fix my house back, you know.
When Louis Pintard says he lost just about everything in 2017 when Hurricane Irma hit, he means it. His pink home stands with barely a quarter of the roof on. Shredded silver tarp covers the remainder of it, with beams exposed, pointed towards the sky. 2 years after the dangerous Category 5 Irma ripped through Ragged Island, which was deemed uninhabitable, Pintard says people want to return home, but it's hard to do so without the basic necessities.
Most of the people who are to leave, they lose just about everything. So, you got to start from the ground. So, just to start,
right.
It's like.
Right. What would you like to see happen here in Ragged Island?
Well, like most of the promises we get, I'd like to see some of them fulfilled,
The island hasn't had a nurse since the storm. Not to mention the school sits just as Irma left it, like an abandoned building. Then there's the administrator's office, post office, and police station, all left untouched. What makes it worse, these residents say help has stopped coming into the island, almost as if they have been forgotten.
Well, it's terrible to see ain't nothing been done. And for all the things they promised, they should have really done something already. But it ain't look like nothing happening right now.
Fishermen make up the majority of those residents who remain on the island, like 26-year-old Lester Wallace, who lives by himself. He says it's depressing to see that many who wish to return home aren't able to.
I need to see some development happen on the island. The island needs to begin to generate some kind of economy, for the future generation. The generations after myself, generations including myself.
Down a hill near the sea sits 2 containers that will serve as coolers, donated by the island's representative Chester Cooper. They're set to be powered up in a matter of days and will serve as a storage for the island's fishermen, who sometimes run out of space to hold their catch.
No, it's been here for a couple weeks. We're about to power them up. Myron is working on getting the right equipment to get them powered, waiting on a few parts. But this is hopefully going to be up and running soon.
And as the world keeps its eye on Grand Bahama and Abaco following the destruction left behind by Hurricane Dorian, the people of Ragged Island hold on to hope that help is also on the way for the forgotten island.
Putting the school and the clinic, and if we get those things, I think we'll start coming back much better,
House Speaker Hudson Moultrie finds himself under fire once again after his scathing rebuke of the media yesterday. Vonig 2 takes a look.
I counsel you to acquaint yourselves with the rules. I shall enforce them to the best of my ability and in such a way so as to ensure that dignity in this House is maintained.
On May 24, 2017, newly named House Speaker Hudson Moultrie promised to take his role as the country's 54th Speaker very seriously. However, a mere 2.5 years into this term, he has prompted many to call into question more than once if he is truly fit to serve. His latest tirade came on Tuesday.
If journalists want flesh and blood, they're going after the wrong person.
Moultrie, who caught feelings after being roundly criticized for ordering that a reporter's cell phone be confiscated and this harmless image deleted, spent the first portion of last evening's House session launching a blistering attack on the media.
If they want flesh and blood, they need Jesus.
Then there's this one.
You either conform or you be gone.
And this one.
I remember you saying that the Prime Minister should perhaps appoint me to another position because by nature, after knowing me for more than 50 years, you felt that I was too aggressive and too combative.
And another.
I would naturally assume that every reporter can read.
Moultrie also dragged his predecessor into the mix, asserting that after the incident involving the Nassau Guardian reporter's cell phone, former House Speaker Kendall Major was harassed by the media for red meat.
Dr. Major refused to give that red meat. He refused to give that flesh and blood.
However, what Moultrie conveniently neglected to mention was Major actually labeled his handling of the situation involving that reporter as over the top and referred to Parliament as deeply tribal, mediocre, and unproductive. Moultrie then insisted now is not the time for emotions.
This is neither the time nor the place for the enthronement of emotions. We must govern this House with sobriety.
However, some social media users suggested it was the Speaker whose emotions were on full display on one too many occasions. One person asserted the Speaker is still on his ego trip. He seems to forget this is the people's house, while this user posted, ignorance and arrogance, a deadly combination. Yesterday's performance was just the sequel to the House Speaker's infamous rant back on February 7th, 2018. Remember this?
I want to emphasize to the member for Cat Island, Rumpke, and San Salvador that my wife is an indigenous Bahamian woman, and that I have had, over those 38 years, no reason for divorce.
During that same sitting, Moultrie also asserted that he is a real man, not a soft powder puff man. It was a far cry from the Nassau Village MP who promised to be fair back in 2017 when he accepted this prestigious position.
There will be an overarching principle that as far as possible, all members wear the same size cloak of honor. And based on that conclusive presumption, all members are to be treated equally.
Reporting for our News, I'm Vonique Tude.
Well, nearly 3 months after the Minnis administration signed a $250 million deal for the management of the Nassau cruise port, that lease agreement was tabled in the House of Assembly. Jasmine Brown reports.
That nearly 50-page document was tabled in the House of Assembly last night and outlines how the port will be managed. The lease agreement was tabled following debate of the Harbor Dues Amendment Act. The Minnis administration signed a heads of agreement for the $250 million project with Global Ports Holding to redevelop and manage the Nassau cruise port in late August. In the House of Assembly on Tuesday night, Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguila revealed the number of Bahamian workers expected to receive construction jobs.
During the construction of the port, Nassau Cruise Port Limit will endeavor to maintain the 80-20 Bahamian non-Bahamian ratio, although it envisages that once construction is complete, all full-time employees of the port will be 100% Bahamian.
According to the tabled lease, the 25-year management agreement allows Global Ports Holding to spearhead the development of a new terminal, a waterfront park, a harbor village, a new inner harbor, an amphitheater, a junk canoe museum, shops, restaurants, and an impact theater. Under the deal, Global Ports will be granted tax incentives that include exemptions from all customs duties for imported materials necessary for work, exemptions from the payment of real property tax for an initial period of 10 years and then a further period of 10 years, exemptions from all customs duties as a construction plant required for the works, deferrals of value-added tax on the importation of construction materials, and VAT deferral on goods for the duration of the term of the lease. Anglerston MP Glenys Hannah Martin questioned if the government would be losing out on much-needed revenue.
So for you to say that the Bahamian people are contributing nothing, they are actually foregoing much.
However, her concerns were quickly shot down by de Aguilar.
Yes, you're absolutely right. We're giving up peerage and wharfage, but now we're getting rent instead. So that one is replacing the other. No, and right now we get wharfage and peerage. That comes in, and then we have to pay to maintain it. We have to pay out money to fix it up. We have to provide security. So basically, we're getting $2.5 million in and $2.5 million going out. We're netting nothing. Now we're going to be getting rent, and we're going to get VAT on the passenger facility charge, and that will contribute $4 to $5 million extra a year, which over the life of the project will be another $125 to $150 million.
Construction is expected to be complete and the new facilities opened by 2022. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. Still to come, are shelter conditions deteriorating? Plus, the Mortgage Corporation waives mortgage payments for storm survivors. Stay tuned.